Here are 10 of the most terrifying lightning strikes that have been captured on camera, ranging from a car in eastern China that lost power after being struck by lightning to a house in Muskogee, Oklahoma, that went up in flames after a powerful jolt. Also included on this list is a plane flying over Heathrow Airport that survived a nasty strike, as well as a tree in Wisconsin that was blown to pieces during a freak storm. When lightning strikes, the bolt of electricity travels into the earth and then branches out in several directions. It never deviates from the course that offers the fewest obstacles to overcome. Because of this, it typically impacts objects like telephone poles, lamps, and trees. On the other hand, a family in Vermont learned the hard way on July 7, 2017, that lightning does not necessarily strike the highest items in the area. In preparation for a get-together with extended family, a man, his wife, and their kid set up a huge tent in the backyard. They must have used up all of the available space within the house. We are really fortunate that they were an adventurous family that had plenty of experience camping. They just were not prepared for what took place after that. Evidently, everybody dashed inside as soon as the first lightning strike occurred. It appears that one family gave up on their marshmallows and threw them away. Because the ground was moist, such slashes in the earth became the pathways with the least amount of resistance. The bolt stayed quite near to the surface. It appears as though somebody made an attempt to excavate gutters in the backyard. However, isn't it true that lightning always strikes the highest objects in the area? To some extent, sure, but this isn't always the situation. Lightning will strike shorter objects approximately 27% of the time, according to Hamid Rasool, an experienced space scientist and professor of physics. This percentage can vary depending on the conditions. As of the year 2023, we are not much closer to solving all of the mysteries surrounding lightning. Ningbo is a city in Zhejiang Province, China, and it holds the status of a sub-provincial city. It is home to over 9.5 million people, of which approximately half reside inside the urbanized area. On July 4, 2021, a local guy had an encounter that could only be described as one in a million. Zhang was on his way home from the highway when he noticed dark clouds gathering in the sky. He thought that being in his automobile would keep him safe, but the sky had other plans for him. It was necessary for the crews to pull it to the side where it could wait for a tow vehicle to remove it. Zhang thankfully did not sustain any injuries as a result of the lightning hit. Nevertheless, his dash cam did. During a lightning storm, the National Weather Service says that the metal shell of your automobile will shield you from the bolts of lightning. In most cases, the lightning strikes your antenna or the exterior roofline. After leaving that point, it travels through the metal casing and the tires before entering the earth below. The intense heat generated by a lightning strike might cause your antenna to melt and your tires to burst. As Zhang's experience demonstrates, the jolt can make its way into the vehicle's electrical system, which will result in the vehicle being rendered completely inoperable. Eastern Oklahoma is home to the city of Muskogee, which has a population of 37,000. Lightning storms during extreme weather can still do considerable harm even though tornadoes are typically their primary concern. The Millers, Mike and Amy, had to discover this truth the hard way. As the storm swept above, the elderly couple had already gone for their appointment at the doctor's office. They were on their way home when they saw fire vehicles traveling in the direction of their area. It was around that time that Mike's sister called and informed him that your house is on fire. They were concerned that either they had forgotten to turn off a stove or that someone had set their house on fire. The truth was revealed by the surveillance system of a nearby neighbor, and it looked like a scene from a movie. This person's house was truly started ablaze by a random bolt of lightning, and it didn't take long for the fire to grow into a significant conflagration. According to the chief of the fire department, lightning struck the attic, most likely igniting the insulation that was located up there. Isn't it the case that insulation should be fireproof? The atmosphere around a lightning strike may reach temperatures of 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The air is one of the poorest conductors of electricity, whereas good conductors don't get as hot as bad conductors, and good conductors don't get as hot as bad conductors. The fire was eventually extinguished by the firefighters, but not before it had caused significant property loss. It was as if the kitchen, the living room, and the pantry had never existed. Thank goodness, some old photo albums and home movies were preserved. During the time that the insurance company was doing its investigation of the damage, Mike and Amy were forced to relocate to a motel. It is to be hoped that they were shielded from dangers such as lightning. Along the route of the Trans-Siberian Railway, The city of Omsk in Russia serves as an important hub. You can probably assume that things will get a little behind schedule when the electricity goes out. On August 8, 2012, a single lightning strike was responsible for knocking out power to a significant portion of the city. The terrifying scene was captured on camera by a local resident who was documenting the storm from his balcony at the time. The noise from the blast was strong enough to trigger the alarms on neighboring vehicles. Vibrations are what shock and impact sensors pick up on in order to determine whether or not an impact has occurred. Loud sounds also send out vibrations that are sufficient to set off an alert. Both gunshots and fireworks have the potential to produce the same impact. The transformer is destroyed because the lightning hit produces an excessive amount of power, which causes the device as a whole to detonate.